Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
How do? Calling from the hot zone.
You have to take one of those Silkwood showers or whatever, basically. This week, we'll be discussing the horror classic Insidious with Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, and others. Barbara Hershey. She pops up later in the movie, which is quite shocking.
She didn't look too bad, though.
No, she didn't look too bad at all. So there you have it. Good times had by all. I had never seen this before. Have you?
Yeah, I saw this at the theater, and quite frankly, I remember it being better, but whatever.
I had never seen this before, but I think, honestly, sometimes when I think I'm never going to see a movie, I'll just Wikipedia it. So I kind of knew what it was about and what was going to go down, but
if you're never going to see it, why do you even care what it's about?
Well, you know what? It's like you hear enough about it and it's got 15 sequels. I'm just like,
right.
Whatever, because I'm not, at the time I wasn't anticipating discussing it on the show, but whatever. But I have to tell you, not bowled over. Bowled over.
As I was saying, I remember seeing it at the theater, and dragging my cousin Heather along, and I might have had a couple of pops before that, but I remember it being a little bit more scarier. But I don't know. Maybe it's only good the first time around.
When you know everything that's coming, maybe? I don't know.
Exactly. And now you're like, he's a dick.
He is, basically. And we're gonna get into this.
Yeah, we're gonna deep dive.
Let's just jump right in. Okay, so what? They're a young couple moving into.
I'm sorry. Are you
my bad.
Is that what's up?
What's your 30-second synopsis of Insidious?
All right, a teacher supporting a family with 3 kids. Moves into, I don't know, is that Pasadena in a $3 million house, which I'm not sure how he magically affords with his high school teacher salary. But the house seems to be haunted, and it haunts a child into some kind of weird coma. Oh, Lord, it turns, they move, and guess what? As with all these movies, the badness comes along with them. But oh no, don't you know your asshole husband had the same thing happen to him?
Yeah.
You bring in like Elizabeth Warren, not that Elizabeth Warren.
Lorraine Warren. Lorraine.
Maybe it is that Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders show up to try to save the day.
Could be.
But did they? I guess not. The end.
Wah, wah. The end. One thing I wanted to say is that there were these kind of seeds that were sprinkled that weren't really tied off later in the movie. Like earlier in the movie, there was a young couple moving into a fancy mansion on a teacher's salary.
My freaking dream house.
Right.
I can't afford that house right now after working 10 years. And trust me, I'm making double the average for this town right now. And I can't afford that house in Bakersfield, much less these fancy people, which is clearly like Pasadena.
Well, he puts in a lot of overtime. So that's
okay.
Helpful.
There's no teacher overtime, and you don't get paid for just sleeping in your classroom because you hate your family.
That was another little seed. But the seed that I was referring to is that they say something along the lines of, hey, this house will be different than the last one.
Right. We never figure out what happened at the last one.
Right. I mean, it's hard to say.
Maybe it was haunted then, too. Maybe it was just they're still trying to get the little Dreamwalker baby.
Well, it's kind of like what they say in The Conjuring, where ghosts don't haunt things. They haunt people. So there you have it.
But that's not true in Poltergeist.
No, it's not. That's a different. It's not a connected universe. They're different.
Oh my God! Now you sound like my son with parallel universe, and it's this universe, and it's that world, mother effer.
But very early on, the wife is waking up because the husband's snoring, and she starts unpacking stuff. But books, like I put the books on the shelf. My love of it was like healing through music. Yeah, it was a lot of crazy stuff. those books are like knocked out of the shelf. So stuff's already going wrong. And the husband's like, hey, I'm not taking the kids to school. I got to get to work early. And I'm going to be out late as well.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so it's already bang.
From
Then
Jump
stop
Street.
having freaking kids, man.
Right. So before, I mean, spoiler alert, before he goes into his crazy coma and there are ghosts running around the house, things are already crazy town, right?
Yes.
Hubby is already emotionally distant. Is he having an affair or is he just passing out in class? It's hard to say.
Well, I think it shows you he's literally at one point sleeping. I mean, he's probably watching porn, yeah, but he's literally just asleep. It's 10 o'clock at night. I'm grading papers. My ASS. I got 3 little kids over here, and it's haunted. Get your effing ass, or I'm loading up the kids and taking them to school.
Well, when she says, she's like, he's coming home at 11:30 at night. I hate to break it to you, the school is not open that late.
Yeah,
no matter how dedicated you are, they will kick you out at a certain hour, and it ain't 11:30.
Exactly. Well, we have a code for our alarms, but 11:30, 11:30.
Well,
I mean, I have been slammed grading papers because I don't like to grade papers till I wait till the last minute. But you know what I do? I bring it home and put on TV while I'm grading papers or whatever. But there's just no way that it's 11 o'clock at night consistently. Well, and she couldn't be more understanding.
She's very nice. She is a composer, evidently, who's working on her latest hit song.
She's Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh, she's something. But she says, this didn't happen before. You never had to stay this late before. So something is going on. And there's like the family photo on the wall where everybody's smiling. He's got kind of a crazy look on his face. Kind of a grimace.
He's such a D-bag.
There's something going wrong, basically. And it ain't just there's ghosts and demons running around. It would be my, inexpert opinion. But then there's there's noises upstairs in the attic. I mean, again, from Jump Street, things are going on. She goes up there. There's the furnace in the attic. Look, do furnaces are they normally in the attic? I don't know.
I'm not even sure that was a furnace. It just looked like a wood burning stove, like where you would lock your housekeeper that you don't have up there. I don't know.
Is that what you do? Like Parasite? Lock them in a little area?
I haven't seen Parasite yet.
Oh, you have to take my word for it. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen Parasite.
It's on the list.
There it is. So things are already going on. And what's funny is this family, obviously, you think it's Pasadena. I think it's Orange County. Do you know how I know?
Why?
Because their kids' names are Dalton and what's the other kids? Hoover? It was some kind of crazy... There were 2 kids with crazy Orange County names.
It's Southern California white people names.
No, it's not just Southern California white. It's very specific white people.
Okay, what city in Orange County? Because that's very large.
Sweet Lord, Foster. Because it was Dalton and Foster.
Foster came.
Unless he was a foster child, and they just named him Foster. Which seems kind of cruel, if you ask me.
His name was Baby Boy for a while.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is Laguna Niguel. No offense. So, to anybody who might be listening, this is deep Orange County. This is the point. So there you have it. Those kids, there's 2 boys. They seem like everything's cool. Dalton's going up to the attic by himself. We don't know why. With a crazy lantern.
Oh my God. I literally made a note at that. Sure, kids love to crawl under the house, go into the attic. Not in the pitch dark. What are you, crazy? He ain't going up there in total blackness with a flashlight. Kids are scared of everything except when
they should be.
Tell them not to do something.
Pretty much. I always joke, the only time kids put stuff away is if it's an empty box, right? You're like, why is this empty box of ice cream in the fridge? Then it gets put back. Thanks for the help. No, he's wandering around the attic with an old lantern like crazy old Prospector Joe, staggering around up there. It's a death trap. Meanwhile, the parents are downstairs laughing and like, little Dalton, who knows? Bad
Our 4-year-old
parents.
is just it's quiet as a mouse. When you got little kids and one of them is quiet, no good is happening.
That is the God's truth you're telling me. Meanwhile, their newborn baby Callie, going back to Callie, crying constantly. And I kept thinking to myself, how do you get a baby in a movie to cry constantly? They're not actors. I mean, they're not like, what's my motivation? What do they do?
They're with their mom. Then the mother puts it in the crib and walks away. That's how you get babies to cry in movies.
You don't just pinch them?
Good Lord. Can do that. Poke them with your fingernail. Keep one extra sharp just for poking the baby.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, look, sometimes we want a happy baby. Sometimes you want a crying baby. So for this scenario, basically have a set of twins, one that's happy and one that's sad. And you're like, right. Here, take the crying one. This one we abuse. Take this one in. Oh, God, help me.
This one's fed on a regular basis. This one, not so much.
Not so much. Good
this
Lord.
One we like to mix it up with.
Yes. Sweet Jesus. Okay. Dalton goes upstairs, falls off a ladder, whacks his head. Everything
Natural
seems
consequences.
Cool.
Natural consequences.
They gotta learn. They gotta learn them good. So they put the kid to bed. Everything seems fine. Next morning, Dalton doesn't wake up for school. Dalton's staying in bed. What's up?
That sounds just like every child.
Pretty much. Those are my children. So
on Saturday, they're up at 4 a.m. wandering the halls. On a school day, they can't get up before 11.
No, you need some nitroglycerin to get them out of bed at that stage of the game. He ain't waking up. Patrick Wilson is shaking him. Come on. Mom's going to yell at both of us if you don't get up.
Your mom's so mean. She makes me cry, too, says Daddy.
I drink because you cry.
That's a classic.
So so he's not waking up. Smash cut, intensive care unit. He's been in a coma. We don't know what it is. Everything seems fine. I don't know. Well, I have my rounds. I'll check in with you later. It's like, I think I'm getting a second opinion at this stage of the game. With the one doctor saying, I honestly don't know. Frankly, I'm a podiatrist, so I'm doing my best here. So
I'm a cosmetologist, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I just wandered in here.
Are there no other doctors? That's my question. Give me somebody else in here. It
was literally, we don't know. We're done. It's not like House,
no.
where they're just going to work on it.
No.
They're just like, might as well take him home to die.
Pretty much. So then it's, again, smash cut. It's like 3 days later. We still don't know. Smash cut 3 months later. Now he's at home with a nurse saying, here's how you insert his trach tube or whatever it was. Good time.
Yeah, feeding tube. And first of all, you don't just keep inserting it. If it's been 3 months, they would have put a little button in his stomach to pour the crud in. And when you're tube fed, you tend to lose a little weight. His little cheeks were just as chubby as the day he slipped into a coma.
It's a very sad situation. They had a nurse who checks in every now and then. She's like, just buzz me. I'm going to be at the mall. If you have any problems, if there's bleeding.
Can you watch the other two while I peace out? Yeah. Mommy needs a drink at this point.
It's a sad situation. Again, this is where you start seeing Patrick Wilson. He's falling asleep. Like, kids are leaving. I don't know what grade he teaches. He could be a college professor. He could be teaching,
it looks high school. It's not kindergarten. It's rows of desks. I think I'm going to say high school.
He's like, okay, I'll see you guys later. And then he's just like chilling at his desk, like with a glaze look in his eyes. Wife's texting him. He's like, oh, yeah, hon, I got some papers to grade. Don't wake up or don't wait up for me. That's the sign. When they say I'm a school teacher, we get out at 2:30, but I'll be back at 11:30. How many damn papers you got to grade is my question.
How many? And I've been like, clearly there's a whole other family brewing up there.
Yeah.
Don't wait up for me. Oh my God! I'll be waiting up for you, like carving the floor with a butcher knife, like Karen Black in Trilogy of Terror.
I'll be waiting up for you with a loaded shotgun, if that's what you mean.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn straight.
That's basically what it's come down to. So it is. Apparently, he's just like, I just want to sleep at my desk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what he's doing.
I want no part of this family and the demons.
Right. I mean,
and frankly, he acts like she's making this shit up.
He absolutely is. So meanwhile, she's seeing things, right? She's hearing voices crackling on the baby monitor. I want it now. There's faces in the window. There's characters walking around. What's going on? The other kid, Foster, who's got like literally 30 seconds of screen time, is like, I don't like it when Dalton walks around at night, Mommy. Can I move to a different room? And she's like, that's strange. And again, alarms going off. The door is flying open.
Yeah, he sees that and still doubts her.
Well, he believes her, honey. I do believe you. What? What do you mean?
But I don't think we should do a goddamn thing about it. And, I got to go back to work even though it's Sunday. I got to grade papers.
I have got 400 papers to grade, honey. I'll be back.
I have 9,000 students. They've each turned in 10, 20-page reports. I'll be back in a couple of weeks.
I'll see you then. I'm getting an apartment downtown closer to school. I'll see you later. Yeah.
I don't like waking you up, when I come in late, so I'm just not going to come home anymore.
I will never return home. So after the 1,000th, apparition appearing, frightening the wife, she's like, we need to move out of here. We need to get a new house. He's like, cool. Here's another fancy place. Daylight, she's unpacking boxes. Barbara Hershey pops up and she's like, hey.
I wouldn't be so fast unpacking these boxes.
No. She is Patrick Wilson's mother. And she's like looking at the family photo where it's Patrick Wilson making a crazy face. She's like, it's interesting. He stayed for this photo. Usually he's too quick. He doesn't stay in one place long enough for the photograph.
I was like, is he a vampire? He doesn't take pictures, or what? That was such an odd saying.
What? And you know what? He's taken pictures before. She's like flipping through photo albums. Here's his wedding pictures. Blah blah. He's taken pictures before. Goddammit.
Yeah.
Anywho, but that's kind of like an eerie moment where she's just like there's something going on. She's not telling us. So she is wandering through the house, and she hears that Tiptoe Through the Tulips song start blasting on her stereo.
No, that's not Barbara Hershey. That's
no, Rose Byrne. Rose Byrne, the wife, is wandering through the house, and she hears that Tiptoe. Tiny Tim, which is not a little kid, I swear to God, is like a newsie from the 20s or something.
I put down he's like one of the Bowery Boys.
One of the Bowery Boys.
Kids.
Now, contrary to popular belief, that song Tiptoe Through the Tulips, not from the 20s. Not from the 20s.
Actually, the song is, but that version of it is from 1968.
Right. It's Tiny Tim. He was big on Laugh-In in the late 60s. So there you have it. But I'll tell you what.
It is a creepy song.
It is a very creepy song. So there's a moment, and I remember thinking this. It's like they're setting us up for a jump scare or something, right? Because she's walking through the house, and you get that kind of like camera tracking shot following her. She's walking through the house, and there's a scene where she puts some dirty clothes in the hamper, and if you're paying attention, there's the little Bowery boy, like with his back to the wall, or like the back to the camera facing the wall, basically.
I didn't see that at all.
Watch it again, because it's before he jumps out.
I'm not going to watch it.
Never watch it.
I refuse.
So she's walking, and then she hears it, and she looks in the window, and you see the little crazy kid dancing in the room. She's like, what? There's some crazy.
I just want to know, did the kid bring the record with him?
Maybe.
Because she was playing some like classical music, and you heard the scratch of the record, and then Tiny Tim came on.
Yes.
So do the ghosts travel with their own jams?
They do. Clearly. So she's like, now something's up, and she sees the little crazy dude running. And she goes and takes the hockey stick that is resting on little Dalton's table there. And I kept thinking to myself, does he do a lot of night hockey? when he's,
In Orange County?
In Orange County when he's sleepwalking. So she takes the hockey stick and she sees little shoes poking out. And of course, then he jumps out of a different area. Hee hee hee. Jumping around. Smash cut, she's talking to the local priest. And Barbara Hershey is there. She's like going like, yeah.
If Barbara Hershey doesn't work, why isn't she over helping out with her grandchildren?
Well, I guess they're at school during the day. The one is Foster, who I swear to God, we don't see for the rest of the movie. Is that, I guess they sent him to boarding school for the rest of the movie.
Reform. He went to Boys Town. He said reform school.
Yes, there you go, with Spencer Tracy. You got Dalton in a coma, or so we think, and then Callie's just howling, screaming in the other room nonstop.
Oh my God! What the Callie? She's possessed by a demon. How come there wasn't an exorcism there?
So the priest, she's chit-chatting with the priest. Patrick Wilson comes home. He's like, "What's this all about?" Oh, this is...
Why is there a priest in my house?
Get this guy out of here. Damn you.
Are you having an affair with a priest?
You know I'm a lapsed Catholic. Get him out of here. So shakes his hand, and the priest leaves, and we never see him again. Was he going to come back with some holy water? Was he just counseling her? What is happening?
No goddamn sense.
So he's like, what the heck's going on? He's like, I'm still seeing these crazy things. You don't believe me. And Barbara Hershey's like, well... You used to have these episodes as well.
Ah, another layer of the onion.
Don't you remember when you were about 8 years old? You would tell stories of a crazy old witch woman who you'd see in your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we'd take pictures of you, there would be like the witch woman kind of reaching towards you, getting closer and closer in each photograph. So I called my friend Elise or Elsie or something along those lines. How did she know her? Who the heck knows? Did she find her in the yellow pages? We don't know. But she figured out what the story is. She helped you. Because basically what it is that you and your son, little Dalton, when you sleep, you astral project. Which means your spirit jumps out of your body and flies around while you sleep.
I mean, it sounds like fun, but then when they do it, it looks terrible. Why would anyone want to go into some haunted hayride, at Universal Studios? That sounds terrible.
So there's that whole thing where it's basically like when you jump out, you enter the further. Is what they call, which is a shadowy demon world where ghosts roam around and demons. And if you're out of your body for too long, the demons start circling your body because they want to possess you at that stage of the game.
They want to trip back to the world. Yeah.
Okay. So she's like, I'll call my friend Elsie. She'll help us out like she did all those years ago. Smash cut to here's Specs, who's a little nerdy guy who wears glasses. So, of course, he's called Specs.
I like to think it's the two dudes from Lost Boys, all grown up.
Basically. And Tucker, the tall, bedraggled, bearded fellow. And this is where the comic relief starts to join. Comic relief.
They were quite amusing.
Without the comedy, as far as I'm concerned.
They could have leaned a little more heavy, I think.
I think you're right. Maybe get a comedian to pass over the script a little bit, throw a few jokes in there or something. I don't know. If at all possible. But they're kind of like, Specs is kind of affable and Tucker's kind of cantankerous. So they go, they're at each other. Tucker makes his own ghost hunting equipment out of like Viewmasters, and it's very strange. Yes, he made that out of a child's toy. Oh, really? Interesting. Okay, good times. So there's a lot of that going on because evidently Elise is like, I'm not gonna, just waste my time on this place. I have to send these two knuckleheads to scope the place out first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this movie went a little too long. They could have cleaned some of this biz up.
Could have cleaned some of this stuff up. So they're using all sorts of like devices, like things on prongs and
No,
listen to headphones. And
no, it was the
the
Viewmaster.
Viewmaster is what finally sealed the deal, because
That was the best part. I love the Viewmaster.
so Tucker's walking down the hall with the Viewmaster, and he's changing the colors, which is like infrared. Allegedly, it looks like just yellow and purple. Okay.
Yes, it totally is. In fact, after this, I put my Viewmaster in the garage because next to my Ouija board, because clearly it's a tool of the devil.
It is a tool of the devil. So he flips it a few times, and then you see like there's two like scary women in the hall. That's the thing. There are a lot of just random like spooky characters that just kind of pop up.
They're never explained and make no sense.
Like, make absolutely no sense. Barbara Hershey earlier in the movie is telling them how he used to see things as a child or whatever. There was one legitimately scary moment when she looks at Patrick Wilson and you see the little red-faced dude kind of peeking out beside him.
It was Darth Maul.
It was Darth Maul. It was absolutely
and
Darth Maul.
when this came out, it was totally Darth Maul because it was totally not that long after that.
But it was kind of it was freaky the way you see him kind of peeking out at you. So that kind of gave me a little shiver. That was the only one. Do you know what that?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Darth Maul in either form is a little freaky.
I don't disagree. Do you know what that creature was called in the cast list? I looked this up. The name of that demon was called the Lipstick Face Demon. Interesting.
So
I might take another.
Let me check this out. So this demon only existed since we've had lipstick.
I might again
like
have somebody else
demon?
rename this. Yeah, take your time. It's bizarre. It's kind of a freaky looking face. When you're not expecting to see it, those moments are scary. When you get a full long look at it, not quite so scary.
Yeah.
So so Tucker's like, we don't need to. We can call her now. Basically, we can call this place is jacked. Get the real person, and they don't explain what her powers are.
No.
Per se, she just seems to know a lot. Maybe she's a medium. Maybe she sees things that others don't see.
She seems a little fragile. For sure, she's going down with the coronavirus.
Something, right? So she arrives, and she's like giving old Barbara Hershey a hug. Hey, good to see you after all these years. Yeah, we'll figure this right out. Don't you worry. So she wanders through the house, and Specs walks with her with like a pad and a pencil, like some colored pencils. She will whisper in his ear, and he will sketch what she tells him. Okay? And I had it on subtitles, so it's a lot of, he's got black hands. He's got black legs. His body's black. His face is red, though. Got a red face. Red finger, or black fingers, long black fingers. And then Rose Byrne is like, I'm tired of hearing all this going on. Rips the pad and paper away, and it is like modern art. You know what I mean? It's like if I did this, it would literally be some stick figures. Okay, so we've got a black leg. Okay, that takes me 2 seconds to draw.
Why don't you just record her? Yeah, they did a lot of extra stuff that seemed kind of foolish.
Right. So again, it's the crazy lipstick demon that is now the one that's trying to get inside the body. And that's the reveal, is it's like, your house wasn't haunted. It's your son. Your son is haunted.
But knowing what we know later on, why didn't it just hop on in there?
This is an excellent question.
This kid's been in a freaking coma
for
without his soul
at least 3 months.
For months and months. Yeah.
Yes, this is a good question. So the only way we can get him back is if you use your astral powers, which we've blocked for, I used hypnotism or something. We blocked your memory, so you don't remember this childhood.
Wait a minute, freeze.
Yes.
That's right. They blocked his memories. So
right.
Are we to assume he's still astral projecting? Don't you think it would have been better to block the astral projecting?
Well, he blocked the memory and therefore could not use the astral projecting anymore, which is why the witch woman wasn't able to get to him anymore. But instinctively, on some subconscious level, he feared getting his pictures taken after that, which is why he was always looking crazy.
You always see the witch right behind him, getting closer and closer.
Right. So after that, no more witch woman in the pictures, but just on a subconscious primal level, he no longer liked getting his picture taken, evidently.
Yeah.
So there you have it. So he's like, you know, this sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Hit the road, Jack. Kicks everybody out of the house, and he's up, you know, massaging his child's belly, going, "Oh, you're right here, son. You're right here. You're not on some astral plane." And then he
Oh
looks
my
at
God, he's so freaking annoying. So freaking annoying.
he looks at like the artwork that the son was doing, and it was clearly, it's like, oh, there's the picture of the red-faced demon. There's a picture of a crazy red door in a black room. Then there's literally a picture where it says like, "At night I leave my body and fly around," written in crayon.
Can I just say something?
Please.
This is a second house. He's been in a coma. So that means somebody took all these pictures down from the old house, pinned them all back up without ever noticing it or reading it.
That's correct.
That's ridiculous. That's stupid. It's so stupid.
That is correct. So after that, he has a teary-eyed moment where he realizes, oh, so it's not all BS. My wife isn't nuts. So she comes in. He's like, whatever we can do, honey. You know, we can bring him back right now. So,
but I gotta go grade some papers. I'll be back later.
You guys can do what you want. I'm gonna be gone grading these papers for 12 hours. So they do a crazy seance where Elise puts on a gas mask.
Oh my God! That was so. With an earpiece for the dude.
Right.
That was so mental.
Well, it had like a long trunk, like an elephant or something, that would hook up to his, to Speck's headphones.
And so he could hear her.
Right. So he'd transcribe what she said and also like the other voices that they could hear. So it's a lot of, can you hear us? Come to my voice. I can't. The demon's going to get me. Blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, you know, during the seance, he becomes temporarily possessed. I guess the little boy, Dalton, gets temporarily possessed and starts throwing things around. Meanwhile, the demons pop up. So there's the greasy-haired dude in the black duster is like trying to lick Rose Byrne. And
oh God, why do the demons all want to come and lick us?
There's all that stuff. So all this stuff is going on. Finally,
oh, do you think that triggered some Harvey Weinstein flashbacks?
I don't. It did for me.
Why wouldn't it?
So Elsie pulls off her mask, grabs little Dalton, is like, leave this body, and I guess that works. Because he kind of floor in the, oh, thank God he's still alive. The room's been destroyed, but I guess everything's cool now. So now Patrick Wilson is like, cool, I will now enter the further, if you can walk me through this.
But before we do that, they went back and looked at the videotape, and it was really, I refuse to call him the lipstick demon. Darth Maul is holding the kid like a marionette. He was never really, and just throwing him around and moving stuff around that way. That was kind of creepy.
Yeah. So there was that. And I kept thinking to myself, it's like, you haven't done this in 30 years and you don't even remember when you did do it. So maybe give me some pointers, Elsie, before you send me to the great beyond. How's this work? Do I run back to my body? You know, maybe we can do a couple test runs. No, not so much. Okay. So now we got Patrick Wilson walking through the nightmare shadow world called the Further with the child's lantern as his only source of illumination. Staggering
you're
around.
In your dream. Why can't you have a no? And let me just say, she told him not to draw attention, and he's in the Further going, "Hey, has anyone seen my child?
Right,
boy, where are you? Hey, who are you? What's up?"
Shining the light in the crazy demon's eyes. So he somehow makes it his way from their new house through the shadow world to the old house, and there are crazy people just in the house, like kind of ghost-looking people. Who knows what's going on? Have you seen my son?
Overuse of the fog machine.
Yeah. So he makes his way up to the attic in the old house, and that's where he sees the red door. and gets attacked by the greasy-haired dude in the black duster. He has to do some
We don't
kung
know
fu.
who any of these
No.
people are.
No explanation. A bunch of randos in the house looking kind of creepy. And then the greasy-haired dude, he's got to do some, he fights him off. Remember, Josh, you're the strongest one there is. And so he does some kind of move and sends that guy flying off.
Yes.
Goes into the red room, and now it's like the boiler room from like Nightmare on Elm Street, basically. And there is...
I like the Demon's Workshop, though. That looked kind of cool.
It was literally Nightmare on Elm Street. And at one point, you see him sharpening his long claws on a grindstone. Like it's literally Freddy Krueger claws. He finds little Dalton there who's chained up. Somehow he frees him. Who's to say how?
Using his magic human strength, he's able to pull these leg cuffs, iron bars apart.
Right.
And free little Ding Dong.
Frees little Ding Dong, scoops him up, and now he's running back through the shadow world. But now there's like 10 million ghosties all around him. All around. And it's, again, shadow world. There's no landmarks here. How do you know where to go? You're just running blindly through this thing? Good luck. Eventually, and again, it's like, maybe somebody could call to me. I don't know. Eventually, Rose Byrne starts shouting, Josh, listen to my voice. He's like, thank Jesus.
Come to me.
So he eventually makes it back to the house. And while this is going down, now the ghosties are now in the real world. So they're like, it's like Night of the Living Dead. They're pushing in through the doors, trying to get in. Specs is trying to hold this door over here. We're, pushing a table in front. They get into the house, and Josh goes, hey, Dalton, go on ahead. I'll catch up with you, which seems like a horrible plan.
You just went to the outer limits to collect your child, and you got this, bro. Go do whatever you're supposed to do.
It's literally on the 1 yard line. You're right there. Throw that damn kid. Because what you find out is Josh is now, I'm going to confront the old witch woman who bothered me when I was a child. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, witch woman. And the witch woman's face kind of shimmers and blows away.
Right.
So eventually Josh wakes up in the real world, and all the ghosties disappear. They go to check on little Dalton. Little Dalton's cool. Oh, thank goodness. You saved the day. All is right with the world.
Mm-hmm.
Or so we think.
Uh-huh.
Josh,
Elizabeth Warren shouldn't have taken his picture.
You're telling me? Well, that's the thing. So Elizabeth Warren, Elsie, as we call her, Josh is helping her pack up her camera equipment. He hands her something, and she looks at his hand and notices something peculiar about it.
It's all jacked up witch fingers and black tips and stuff.
So she picks up the camera and takes a picture of him. And he flips. Don't you know I hate getting my picture? Like shouting at her.
Why did you take my picture?
People are in the next room. Right? He's shouting
in the next room of this small bungalow.
He goes and literally strangles the life out of her while shouting at the top of his lungs. Nobody notices anything.
People are in the kitchen. The whole family is in the kitchen, and nobody hears this going on.
If they're further away than 15 feet, I'd be shocked. Because it's literal. But again, throttles her. While screaming the entire time. Eventually, Rose Byrne walks in there and sees her corpse flop down the chair, and she's like, this is so strange. What's the story? Picks up the camera, because that's what you do when you find a corpse, right?
Uh-huh.
Let me find, where's the camera at?
And now I'm going to check my Instagram messages.
I'm going to check my Instagram, my filters right now. She picks it up, and you see there's the witch woman over the shoulder of Josh. And the last thing is Josh saying, here I am, honey. Because she's like, Josh, where are you? Here I am, honey. Coming up behind her. And that's then credits. And that's the end of the movie. If you stuck around through the credits, there's a scene where the witch woman pops up and blows a candle out. So
Nah.
not worth sticking around for. Let me tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, this was about at least 30 minutes too long.
And it
They
was
could
only
have
an
trimmed
hour and a
some of
half anyway.
Was it? No, it was not an hour and a half, was it?
It was about an hour 40.
It
Yeah.
seems so much longer.
There's a lot of little observations. I already talked about the bad parenting and the kids with the crazy Orange County names. There's a scene when Patrick Wilson, Josh, and Renee spelled in an entirely interesting way. Because again, I had the subtitles on. How do you spell Renee?
Well, there's two ways.
Well,
I've seen
give
it
me either one.
Rene
Yep.
or Reane.
I've never even seen that one. The way she spells the name, and I literally was like, I have no idea what this name is until he finally started saying it. Renai.
Oh, that's some made up weird shit.
Renai? I don't know.
Renai?
I couldn't figure it out. Anyway, they're getting ready for bed, and Patrick Wilson pulls out some like face cream and starts putting it on his face to get rid of those crow's feet. Who is this guy? What are you trying? Are you?
He's trying to do a little manscaping before bed.
It's a little. I mean, is it a midlife crisis? He's like, I gotta get all fancy and shiny.
That would make me. He's more that he's having an affair.
Right. Oh, no question. No question. It was bizarre. Look, no man in the world, okay, is like I have like a nighttime ritual of face cream before I get ready for bed.
I know somebody.
Definitely not this dude. Oh no. Although they do establish he's kind of vain. Earlier he plucks a gray hair out of his head. Oh, what is this? Think. Like literally the first time we meet him, he's plucking a gray hair out of his head.
Oh my God. I only pluck the ones that are in my eyebrows, and I now have one in my eyelashes.
No, when you look like me, every hair is sacred. Gray or otherwise.
Every hair is sacred.
If you see somebody pluck a hair, it's like a personal affront. It's basically what it is. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, it basically, if I started pulling the gray hairs out of my head, there'd be huge sections that have been deforested.
Pretty much. Deforested. That was it for my observations. We already touched on most of them. I really didn't have that much to write about.
Did you notice when he was not grading papers in his classroom, somebody had drawn a picture of Jigsaw behind him?
Right. In the classroom, they're like the names on the board are like names of like the producers, the hairstyle. I think James Wan, who is the director, his name is one of the names on the board.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's all sorts of little insides in this. Any other observations before we move on to behind the scenes?
Let's see. And now I'm reading my notes to myself because it was a scrawl. I barely wrote about half a page of notes, but most of it was like Jigsaw on the chalkboard. I guess we don't call it a chalkboard anymore.
It's a whiteboard.
And it was all mostly just complaints about the house and too much fog. What else you got?
That's it. Like again,
no behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, well, okay, let's hit.
Am I getting Rose? This Rose confused with the Rose from the oh my God,
a Rose by any other name?
No, the one with the witches in San Francisco. I am
Rose McGowan.
Rose McGowan and
no,
Rose Byrne.
Rose Byrne is she was in Bridesmaids. Yes. She was in.
So which one was the Weinstein accuser?
That's Rose McGowan.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Well, assume every woman in Hollywood has been harassed by.
Exactly.
Weinstein.
I think
probably not too far off.
I'm just gonna throw on the Weinstein whenever possible because he is like those poor women. It would be like getting molested by Jabba the Hutt.
It's not like that. It is that. It's a sad situation.
Only sweatier.
That's right. This movie was directed by James. Okay, so this is behind the scenes now, by the way.
I bet you didn't have any behind the scenes.
I have behind the scenes. I just didn't have any more pithy observations. So I'm going to the next thing.
Only the pithiest.
Only the pithiest. James Wan is the director of this. Previously, he had made a name for himself doing all the Saw movies. And he actually did this movie because, and it has very little violence, if at all, because he felt like actors, like legitimate actors, were hesitant to work with him because they thought the only movies he did were kind of these horrible torture bloodbaths.
Well, horrible wouldn't be too far, but like I said, when I first saw this, I remember it being kind of good. I mean, because there's so many shitty
it's just kind of
horror movies out.
As far as I'm concerned, it's not horrible. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
It's not The Conjuring. That's for
definitely
damn sure.
not The Conjuring. And that's the kind of the bummer, because it's the same director who went on to do The Conjuring 3 years later, Patrick Wilson. So there's that kind of connection.
Right.
Now, this movie was written by Lee Whannell. I'm sure I'm messing up his name, who also played Specs in the movie. So
which one? I've seen those, the two knuckleheads, the two Stooges. I've seen both of them in other stuff. All right.
I thought that was kind of interesting. More interesting is the fact that he is currently the director of The Invisible Man on demand. So there you go.
Oh yeah, I wanted to do that. Is it not free?
No, it is not free.
Boo.
But James Wan and Lee Whannell have worked on a number of things. They're like a team who've done multiple things. Now, originally, the Patrick Wilson role was supposed to go to Ethan Hawke, and he turned it down. But a few years later, he starred in his own horror movie called Sinister. Which
I think I've seen that one too.
Which also deals with like family.
Is that Sam Raimi?
No, that is not Sam Raimi.
Too bad.
Very sad.
I can't remember what Sinister is about.
I don't know. There's like the house is possessing people kind of thing. Same kind of thing.
What a novel concept.
Yeah, good times. This movie had 3 sequels. Insidious Chapter 2, Insidious, I guess Chapter 3, and Insidious, The Search for More Money.
The Search for Spock.
The Search for Spock. It was something like, it was called like The Final Key or something along those lines. So you can check out those.
And I may have seen some of those, but it's not boinging off my head right away.
Now, Josh's mom is named Lorraine in this movie.
Named after Lorraine Warren.
Well, this came first. So, coincidence? I don't know. Lynn Shay, who plays...
What do you mean coincidence? The other movies are about the Warrens.
Right, they are. And those are real, but I don't think they were even thinking about... Because this is 3 years before The Conjuring. I don't think they were even thinking about the Warrens.
I just assumed it was a nod to supernaturalness with all their crazy saw crippity crap and trying to throw in some Krueger and this or that.
It's entirely possible.
Because it's 3 years until the movie comes out. So they would have possibly already been writing it or thinking about it.
Interesting. Nicely done.
Ain't that how Hollywood works?
Who's to say?
I'm just making shit up as I go. What else you want to know?
Pretty much. Lynn Shay, who played Elsie, the medium, demonologist, psychic. I don't know what the heck.
What a terrible name, because it's Elsie the cow. No one should be named Elsie.
I think it's Elise, but it's hard to say. It's one of the two.
Elise might be better.
Like Elise from Elise Keaton from Family Ties. That's the only other Elise. Not
oh my God. You were in love with her because I don't even remember what her name was.
Meredith Baxter Birney?
No, I didn't remember her. I know who Meredith Baxter.
No longer Bernie.
That's longer Bernie. But I remember thinking her husband was hot in the 70s.
Well, he was on St. Elsewhere for one season. So there you have it. Anyway, she is most famously to me because she was in There's Something About Mary. She played...
oh, yes! I knew her from some of the old shriveled up orange lady.
She played Cameron Diaz's landlady or neighbor or something along those lines.
Oh, my God. Yeah, she was great in that.
She has a lot of range. This is not the first movie that Barbara Hershey was in that there was an evil being pursuing somebody. Do you know what the first movie was?
Wait a minute. No.
It's called The Entity, about an invisible ghost who does all sorts of scary things to poor Barbara Hershey years ago.
I'm not sure I saw that.
It was quite frightening.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The evil old witch woman was actually played by a man.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of the various female characters in the Netherworlds were actually men.
That's correct.
When I saw the credits roll by.
Other names of I was going to tell you, the little boy Dalton was played by Ty Simpkins, which sounds like an interesting name.
Patty Simpkins.
What's
that
one
from?
Patty Simcox. That's from Greece. Ty Simpkins was in Jurassic World.
Don't care.
He was in Iron Man 3. He was in Avengers Endgame.
No.
And I think that's about it. So
I never saw him again.
Good times. The demons that were roaming around, I already told you, there was the lipstick face demon.
And who was that?
Just some dude. The old woman, not the witch woman, just the old woman. The long-haired fiend, which is very interesting. And then the doll girls.
The doll girls and their creepy daddy.
That's it. The top, I think he called him like the top hat man or the whistling
And then
Joe
the mom of the twin girls was clearly a man also.
I noticed that as well. So there you go. Good times had by all. Any last thoughts before we move on with our lives?
Yeah, like I said, when I first saw this, I remember being entertained. But on second view, not so much. My palate has become more. Yeah, it's no Conjuring, and my palate is much too sophisticated now.
Well, it's that thing where it's like somehow more frightening on some level where you don't see the ghosts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you get kind of immune when there's constantly like, here's a little like page boy running by, and
yeah, it's
overwhelming. I mean? We're just like, so there's always.
Hey, if there's just if the worst ghost is a crazy East Side kid doing a little jig, whatever.
That's fine with
me. You know what? I'll put the ghetto blaster in the backyard. He can jig away.
Little tiptoeing through the tulips. That's all you need.
Why are ghosts always so angry? How come they're not like doing my dishes or something? Even the leprechaun would at least shine your shoes.
I am the leprechaun. For joining us, go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Email us at thepodcastthatwouldn'tdie@gmail. Like, share, subscribe, rate. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, etc., etc. And Aaron, you also have a Twitter account.
The Cult of Aaron.
The Cult of Aaron. So please join the cult.
Hey, and everybody needs to stay their ass inside. Otherwise, I'm going to buy a Vespa, and like in those videos from India, I'm going to get a switch and just drive up to people and start switching them. Go back to your house. Quit spraying your freaking cooties on everybody. I don't want your disease.
And wash your hands, for God's sakes.
Well, I hope you're doing. Wash your ass while you're at it too. Everybody should be washing everything all the time, whether it's a pandemic or not.
That's just good advice. So thank you very much, and be well.